The last week or so, the Cubs have struggled with some of the top pitching. I'm trying to figure this out in my head, Michael. Is this something that just all teams struggle with the great pitchers, or is this a warning sign for the Cubs offense?
Both. It is both. I get frustrated. I was not as frustrated yesterday. I mean, Philadelphia had lost whatever it is, 9 out of 10 games. They had sort of bottomed out. I expected they would bounce back. When I looked at this road trip, what was this 9-game road trip? I kept thinking, okay, if they can come out of this 4-5, I'd be happier with 5-4. They need to get at least a game in Philly after starting off winning 2 out of 3. I thought, okay, this can be something that's a mere hiccup, especially because St. Louis and Milwaukee have tough games. But to the specifics of the hitting, I'm watching all these condensed games now if I can't see the Cubs, and so I do see the entire game. And I was actually not upset with the shutout. They got good at bats. They were he got thrown out at the plate, which was could have been a critical situation when the score was like 1-0 or maybe 2-0. They're good at bats. It's not like those Cubs teams 3 or 4 years ago. Even when the Cubs were at the end of their run with Rizzo and Bryant and Javi and all those, they would have just bad, awful at bats, like a run of them. This team doesn't seem to have that. And I'm not covering this, and I'm not able to talk to coaches and hitting instructors and all that stuff like I used to. But just to my eye, as somebody who's watched a hell of a lot of baseball for 50 years, I'm still like, all right, they've got what it takes to break out of slumps. They don't have to manufacture runs. They're good on the base paths. They have guys who are not prolific home run hitters who can still drive in runs. Suzuki has some bad at bats, but not like the Cubs' more talented teams of 5 and 6 years ago did. So, when you look at going into Detroit and having that ace go against you, I'm like, okay, this is all right. We're going to get Imanaga back. By the way, what is the latest on Imanaga?
It's still
getting closer, isn't it?
I mean, but it's been a long haul. Is it still like another week? He threw yesterday,
and maybe
according
they're
to Tyler.
holding him. You can delay it. When you got a 5-game lead or a 4-game lead, you can delay that.
Yeah.
You don't need to rush him back. As a matter of fact, even if he was scheduled to, I'd say, okay, we got a 4-game lead. You can take it another 10 days. It's a hamstring, right? Those things are, so.
Yeah, the hamstring with him. That's right.
Yeah, it's a hammy. Yeah. So part of it is, okay, the Cubs don't have a rotation of aces by name, but these guys were pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Cade Horton, he's nobody. He's pretty good. Tyone, nobody. They've been consistently good. So if I got to go into these series, and Detroit's got the best record in baseball, so I'm trying not to overreact. And Philadelphia, I know, lost 9 of 10, but that may have been their real scoop out period because they're a team that really is going to look at winning a National League East.
Mike, as you mentioned, you've watched a lot of baseball and been a huge baseball fan your entire life. Baseball ratings are up. There's some great stories, whether it's Aaron Judge or it's Shohei again or it's PCA. Baseball in a good place, or does it just feel that way because the Cubs have been so exciting?
Well, the Cubs being exciting is part of what puts baseball in a good place. You're talking about when the Cubs, Red Sox, Yankees, Dodgers, and Giants, throw the Giants in there, and Cardinals. When those teams are good, it reverberates. They have their fan bases are not just large, they're old. And their fan bases have moved about like seeds being thrown out by the wind. Their fan bases are everywhere. Did you see what the attendance was like in Detroit? Detroit.
3 straight standing room only, right?
It's insane. Okay, so and did I say, if I didn't say Detroit, I meant to.
You did.
So you got you don't have like a original 6, but it's close to. I mean, it's something like that, and it's more than 6. It's more like 10 or 12 teams, and when those teams are good, it's good for baseball. And right now, you've got that mix. The Reds, don't let me leave them out. I don't put the Indians in the same category as the Reds. Maybe I should, but there's about 10 or 12 teams that when you have that. And then you get bonuses regionally. People pop up if the Nationals pop up and they're good and people care in that region, which is a big metropolitan area. When the Diamondbacks are good, remember, Phoenix is the 5th biggest city in America. Mm-hmm. So when the Diamondbacks are good, you got a built-in natural base. But it's not like when the Cubs or Red Sox or Yankees or Dodgers or Giants or teams have been around for 140 years. So they're one and the same to me. And when those teams are good, baseball's got a good situation.
How do you feel about when Nico Hoerner says to the home plate umpire after getting called out on strikes and the pitch was in fact a ball, that he turned and he calmly said, "You're having a bad day," and he got thrown out?
I think you know how I felt because I think I said it yesterday on PTI. Okay? That guy behaved like a bum. The home plate umpire was a bum. And he ought to be suspended for being an ass. And I purposely, for family radio purposes, restrain myself from using the second word in the hyphenation I'd like to.
Is that in the Major League Baseball bylaws? We can suspend you for a week or more for being an ass.
I don't know, but it should be. But you know what? And even if it's not, I prefer ridicule to the suspension.
Yes.
I prefer ridicule.
And I agree with you, Wilbon. Like, nothing gets me going more than the ump show. And like, what are, like, when we define this, what are they there for? They're there to be the arbiters of the game and to just make sure that the athletes are playing fairly. And no one is there to see them. So if Nico says this, is he showing them up? Whatever the case,
he didn't
let
show
it
him
go.
up. He didn't do anything.
Right.
He was not demonstrative. No. We don't need to examine this one. Not closely. And I know his name, Derek something.
Stevenson, was he Derek Stevens or Derek Stevens?
No,
it's not Derek Stevens. He's with Circa.
This guy, Derek, oh, God. I wrote his name down. It's just a good thing I can't find it now because I insult his whole family.
I don't make it a policy to know most of the umpires by name. I know Phil Cuzzy. That's the only guy I know.
I looked his up because I wanted to rip his ass yesterday. Derek Thomas.
Oh.
He should never share a name with a great athlete.
Amen to that. I was just going to say.
Because he behaved like a bum.
I love the old term bum. Calling someone in sports a bum. That's as old school as it gets right there.
I mean, that just annoyed the hell out of me.
With that in mind, like, let's carry this conversation kind of even deeper. With that in mind, Mike, are you for full robot umps or the challenge system, or where are you at with regard to none of it?
Yeah.
I guess the challenge system. I don't want to see umpires removed from the field, and that's just old school too. That's just me being an old person and wanting to. I don't want it to look like that. I don't want it to just have a catcher and a batter out there. It's like going to a batting machine at your amusement park, your local amusement park. I don't want that.
I'm fine with that too. I've always been a robot umpire guy for balls and strikes. But if you just implement a challenge system, you will get no argument out of me.
Right.
Yeah, challenge system I can live with. I mean, that's what everybody else is doing, and I'd be okay with that. If they went to something more severe, like I tell you what, I don't want anymore. I don't want like the French Open, where you got a lines person coming down the stairs of a chair to go out and circle the spot on the clay. Okay, 1955 we don't need. Let's
well, the funny thing with that is if I'm not mistaken, like the French Open isn't it the only major where they don't use Hawkeye?
I think so. I think it's like the only tennis tournament of any consequence that doesn't use it.
They need to get off their high horse there with regard to that. And that's their stance.
It's a very high horse. Yes.
So,
it is. Yeah. It's not a question.
Wilbon, we've talked about this with you. Speaking of the French Open, do we call any sort of comeback these days or a commanding lead that isn't finished a choke without the context of it really being a choke?
It wasn't a choke. You talking about the French Open final?
Yes.
It wasn't a choke. It wasn't a choke. No. You have to watch it. No, it's not a choke. I mean, it's just the greatest pure comeback you can ever see.
Yes.
Look, I've been watching tennis as long as I've been watching. Well, not quite as long as baseball, but I go back to Laver and Ash and Newcomb and Smith and Nastasi, and I grew up playing tennis in Chicago and watching it, and playing in high school at St. Ignatius and watching it and playing the local junior scene, which I actually did play in Chicago. I wasn't any good, but I played. And I'm acutely locked into the major championships. And that comeback was a comeback. That's what it was.
It was Alcaraz's brilliance. It wasn't Sinner collapsing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And not just his brilliance, but his insane. John Barry has this phrase about delusional confidence in great athletes. It was a delusional level of confidence that allowed him to say, I can win this. Because people who just drive around and work every day for a living and pick up their own dry cleaning, they don't have that.
Well, to add to the nuance as well, and then my wife's a diehard tennis player, so she knows.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She knows this much better than I. But she said to me as well. She said, "No, this was not a choke job. This was Alcaraz being brilliant. Not only that, but Alcaraz's best surface is clay, while Sinner's best surface is actually a hard court.
Right.
So there's nuance to that portion of the conversation as well.
There is. She's 100% right about that, and we're going to get to see them. So the funny thing here is Sinner. Alcaraz already has the 8-4 advantage head-to-head over Sinner and has won the last 5. Now, how's that going to play out this summer when you got grass coming up, faster surface, hard courts coming up, fast surface United States Open? And so what's that going to mean? And it's these two dudes. It's them. They have already replaced Djokovic, Federer, and Nadal. They've already replaced them. I can't believe I'm saying that. Because those three guys are the greatest three players ever.
Is that what they call him?
I think they call him, don't they call him, Mike, the new 2 or something like that?
I think McEnroe has coined that, and I'm willing to go with Mac. Wow. Because McEnroe was part of a great ensemble.
Yeah.
Because Jimmy Connors was in that, and Borg was in that, and Mac was in it himself, and, probably I'm forgetting somebody.
Was Lendl there?
Lendl was in it, so that's 4. And that was, Edberg was kind of getting in late in that. And so that's 5. But they had so many, that was just a great ensemble of people. Did I say Connors?
Yep.
So, but this is these two. And maybe, I'm hoping that Ben Shelton will join them. One, he's an American whose dad I know. And I'm hoping that he's got the game and he's got a natural charisma and swag about him. But the question is, does he have the game? Does he have enough game? He has the game. Does he have enough game to insert himself with those two now? Can he come up and beat one of them in the U.S. Open? And I'd like to see that. I think that would be good for tennis, not because you need an American at this stage. The world is small. You don't. People don't even know where folks are from. You ask half the people who watch basketball every night on Turner and ESPN where Giannis Antetokounmpo is from, and they'll say, "Did he go to Villanova?" I don't know.
I think most people know.
No, they don't.
With
Giannis?
Giannis?
We're not smart.
Really?
We're not that smart about that. No, we don't know where Joker's. They don't know where Joker's from. They don't. I was listening to a conversation the other day where people were talking about very a legit conversation about just sort of white American players and who's going to be next. And the conversation is always going to, right now, circle around Cooper Flagg. And people started introducing the name of people like Jokic because they don't even know that he's not American.
Yeah.
They have no idea. And so, do you need an American tennis player? I don't think you do. But Ben Shelton is a big, strong, good-looking, charismatic kid who I'd like to see if he can go in and insert himself. Because Joker came late. Remember, Djokovic came late to Federer and Nadal, and because he's a couple of years younger. So if you got time to get one more inserted in there, I think that would make it more fun to me.
All right, I was trying to do the math on this as we move to basketball. The big debate going around nationally, I'm sure you guys talked about this on PTI, is if you're Jason Kidd and you have the choice of staying in Dallas or taking the Knicks job, if Dallas would allow him, which job are you more interested in?
Man, we did, and it was hard. And Tony and I, neither one of us could come up with a decision, which was sort of gutless, but we couldn't. Look, okay, so let's just take this on each side. If you stay in Dallas with an ownership you don't know and a general manager who's on the hot seat every day of his existence there until you do something very different to get out from under the Luka cloud, you don't know what happens. You could be gone in a year, and then you've let the Knicks job pass. You could be gone in a year. You also don't even have Kyrie Irving because he's out with that Achilles tear. And, so you don't. What do you have? What is that ownership, which was trying to move the franchise to Dallas, to Vegas? What are they giving you? What is he giving you? You got grace? Do you believe in it? Do you believe that owner? That owner, so far, the hallmark appears to be non-communicative, even with the league office, from what I hear. So if you're Jason Kidd and you've got now, but on the other hand, the positive in Dallas is, suppose Kyrie comes back in March. Not that you need to win next year, but Kyrie comes back, you get 2 months glimpse of what that looks like with a healthy Anthony Davis, whatever that means, Cooper Flagg, P.J. Washington, Derek Lively.
Right, Klay Thompson.
Klay Thompson. You're loaded. You're loaded. You can look OKC in the face and say, let's go. Let's go. Do you want to leave that to go to the Knicks, where basically the Knicks, by firing one coach, have said, we think we've got to win now. By firing Tibbs, they've said we've got to win now. Now, what do I expect them to do? I expect them to offer Cat to Phoenix for KD, and they think they're going to get KD. You got to give up something other than Cat if I'm Phoenix, but even though Cat is younger, 10 years, 9 years younger, something like that. But if you get Kevin Durant and Jason Kidd as coach, do you think you've gotten enough to supplant Indiana and hold off Boston with Jason Tatum out? What do you think? And if you're Jason Kidd, then what's your answer? I don't know. You're playing for an insanely, awful owner at that point. He's not just non-communicative. He's dreadful.
But either
the Dallas guy, you don't know if he's dreadful. He could be a good owner.
Right. Wilbon, are you saying that both owners right now are dreadful owners?
No. I'm just saying the Dallas guy, Jason Kidd, works with him, doesn't even know him. The owner in New York is dreadful.
Yes, okay. Dolan's dreadful.
So we know that. But you've also got, and by the way, you coached the star point guard. You already coached him. So what, and you love him. You got a relationship and a good one with Jalen Brunson.
Yes.
And so you've got Brunson. You're probably not going to have Cat, but you're going to have Mitchell Robinson. You're going to have, Bridges. You're going to have, and by the way, you're going to have Durant. So, and Durant at 37 is a better defensive player than Cat, even though Cat brings certain other things and a great friendship with Devin Booker if you're bringing him to Phoenix, and from their time in AAU and college and all that. So that deal makes sense, and it seems like it could be the crux of one that gets done. And if you have Kevin Durant added to what you just saw, minus Cat, and you're Jason Kidd, what's your answer? I mean, let me know if you guys have a definitive one, because I don't.
I think Cooper Flagg, for me, sways it to stay.
And I understand that.
Yeah.
I do. I get it.
Yeah.
I get that, Silvy. I mean, if you put Kyrie out there, who has already expressed his joy at Cooper Flagg being the apparent draft pick, and you got Kyrie out there with P.J. Washington and Cooper Flagg and Derek Lively and Anthony Davis, you got something now that the NBA doesn't really know how to deal with, which is athletic size. And you got Klay Thompson, who at that point is being covered by the fifth best defender on a team for 15 minutes a night. Are you kidding?
Mike,
so that's a hard one. It's a hard one to me.
Before we run out of time, we got about a minute or so left. I selfishly want to deviate from basketball and ask you a golf question.
Yeah.
The Open starts Thursday at Oakmont. I think there are some projections that the winning score is going to be +2 to +4, maybe even +5.
Wow.
As a diehard golf fan, are you in the camp that likes watching these guys struggle against those situations?
Yeah, this is the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
It has its own character. I mean, the Masters is about shot making. When you're there on the grounds at Augusta National and you hear the roars of the crowd from various places on the golf course, you know that people are, just hitting shots that are just wonderful, and they're going to almost pick up for birdie and eagles and things that are going on over the golf course. And that's the personality of that competition. And the British Open has its own thing driven by weather issues and seaside 400-year-old golf courses. And it has its own, its own character. The U.S. Open, I think, I just like it as a golf wonk. I want it to be something that terrorizes these guys. I'm okay. I'm okay with it. There's a great phrase, a great comeback I should learn, where somebody was asked if they took pride in the U.S. Open embarrassing the world's greatest golfers, and the answer was something like, "Sir, the U.S. Open exists to identify the world's greatest golfers."
I like it.
And I thought that whatever that exact phrase is, I'm not a golf wonk enough to know who uttered that. And I hope it was about the U.S. Open, but it certainly applies to the U.S. Open. And so if that's it's +2 and +3, I think it's always exaggerated now. I just think it's always exaggerated. I think we're going to see, somebody go out and throw up 4 under on Thursday, and I can't wait. So this is how twisted it is for me. I'm in Arizona now. That the coverage starts at 6 a.m. Eastern on USA Network. That's 3 a.m. here.
Oh, wow.
So
that's prime Wilbon territory.
I can promise you I'm going to wake up at about 3 and go for like an hour and a half, because I just want to see. And Oakmont is, to me, one of the most beautiful golf courses, and there'll be controversy, there'll be at least reaction to whether or not people like their classic golf courses with the trees ripped out to go back to the way a place looked in 1890. And I love that. I do. And I'm a member of Olympia Fields, a place with unbelievably beautiful trees and just foliage and all that. But Olympia Fields has done some of that too. And a lot of golf courses have done that to get back to the way they looked and not just be defined by being tree-lined properties. And so that's part of the Oakmont beauty. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
So you can tell I'm fired up for this.
Well, happy viewing, Michael. Great stuff as always. We appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks,
All
Mike.
right, you guys. Talk to you.
There he is, Michael Wilbon, every Tuesday at 5 o'clock. We got Aki's A-List coming up, and at 6. I don't know if there's ever been a day where we've had more cool sound to play. Unbelievable sound from across the globe to play. Some funny stuff, some interesting stuff. But Aki's A-List coming up next.